Okay. Okay, welcome to the battle of the budget phones. Now, the truth is that phones are becoming really expensive nowadays. So, for you to get a decent smartphone that gives you all of the basic stuff, you have to be ready to spend at least 150k budget or above. So, here with me are low-end, entry-level smartphones from different brands. We have the Itel P65, the Infinix Hot 50i, the Tecno Spark 30C, the Samsung Galaxy A06, and lastly, the Redmi 14C. Now, some friends actually asked me to add the Itel S24 to this lineup, but I don't want to because specs on paper, the Itel S24 is better than these phones. Also, I have a full, more detailed review of each of these phones already on the channel. So this is not going to be a full review. Rather, I will just be using some criteria to just help you decide which one is most suitable. Now, with a 150k budget or slightly below it, you can only get the 4 gigs of RAM and 128 gig storage options of most of these smartphones here. If you want higher storage option and higher RAM versions, then you should be ready to spend a little bit above the 150k budget. Take note that I also said most, because for the Samsung Galaxy A06, a 150k budget can only give you the version that comes with 4 gigs of RAM and 64 gigs of internal storage. Now, once again, most of these phones comes with accessories in their box. Apart from the Samsung Galaxy A06 that comes with just this cable, which is very sad because it is a budget phone. So we're just going to keep it aside. Now, among the rest phones that we have on this table, I would have given the win to the Itel P65 because you also get this extra charging case. But then I learned that it may not be always available. So if you choose to go for it, you may not be getting this. Yeah, so I would say if you are really concerned about what you get in the box, then any of these phones would do. So once again, everyone wins 0 points apart from the Samsung Galaxy A06. Gosh. Build quality is the same. Actually, it is not. While every other smartphone on this lineup has a plastic rear and plastic side, the Redmi 14C actually has a glass back. So I'll be giving it 1.5 points for the better build quality. But when it comes to design, it is a hard one. That is because I've always felt that design is subjective. There are some people that may like the design of the Infinix Hot 50i. Others may prefer the gaming look of the Itel P65, but still others may prefer the simple designs that the Samsung Galaxy A06 comes with or that of the Tecno Spark 30C. But personally, I will give the best design to the Infinix Hot 50i. The uniqueness of this camera module, the pattern around the back, and this shiny tint that it has, just for me makes it more aesthetically pleasing than the rest of these phones. And then also I sampled other people's opinions and they all kept choosing this phone. But then let me know in the comment section below if you disagree, and of course, let me know your choice also. So in this category, it's going to be point shares between these two phones. The Redmi 14C has a better build quality, while in my opinion, the Infinix Hot 50i has the better or the best design. All of these phones comes with an inbuilt non-removable 5000 mAh battery, except for the Redmi 14C that has a 5160 mAh battery. And almost all of these phones support 18 watts fast charging. and you actually get the chargers, as you can see in the box. Apart from the Samsung Galaxy A06 that actually supports 25 watt fast charging speed. So compared to the 18 watts charging speed of the rest of these phones, it is clearly the winner. But the truth is 18 watts is still pretty fast for a budget phone. You can actually get each of these phones from 0 to 100% in less than 90 minutes. So for me, I think it is fair to say that the Redmi 14C wins it when it comes to the biggest battery. And of course, the Samsung Galaxy A06 wins its very first 1.5 points for having the fastest charging. But when it comes to battery management, I would say all of these phones are doing quite well. I got well over 5 hours screen on time. So that means if you buy any of them, you will definitely have to use it more than a day before you charge it. Now, at this point, let me talk about some special features that some of these phones have that I could not really put into a category. For example, the Tecno Spark 30C and the Infinix Hot 50i both have dual stereo speakers, one at the top and another one right under it. So when it comes to audio quality, they have slightly better audio quality than the rest. All of these other phones comes with single down-firing speakers. For me, the Samsung Galaxy A06 has the worst speakers. It doesn't have bass and it is not loud. So I will be giving 3 points to these two phones for dual stereo speakers. Secondly, the Infinix Hot 50i and the Tecno Spark 30C has an IP54 rating for water and dust, while the Redmi 14C has an IP52 rating for the same water and dust. The Samsung Galaxy A06 and the Itel P65 have no protection whatsoever from water and dust. So once again, these 3 phones will be getting 3 points each. Thirdly, the Itel P65 has this notification light behind it that is very important if you are the kind of person that likes to keep your phone face down to avoid distraction. And then also there is this button called the flex button that works like the action button in iPhones. You can customize it how you like. For example, for me, a single press will open up my email, as you can see, while a hard press will launch my favorite game. So none of the other phones on this table has that functionality. So that gives 3 points to the Itel P65 for that innovation. For the display, it is easy for me to say all of these phones have the same display because specs on paper, that's exactly what it looks like. They all have IPS LCD displays with 120 Hz refresh rate, and the peak brightness is around 500 to 600 nits. So they're all fairly usable outdoors. Now, except once again, the Samsung Galaxy A06, it has a 60 Hz display. But these water drop notches or whatever Infinity U display they call it in these two phones in 2024 is a turn off for most people. So because of that, when it comes to display, I'll definitely be keeping these two phones aside. For me, the rest 3 phones are the winners in this category. So yeah, they all get 3 points. Okay. Yeah, look, I'm laughing because if this Samsung phone can actually talk and react, this is where it looks at the rest of the phones and be like, really, because if software or software update is a big deal for you, which it should be because of course you plan to use these phones for long, yeah, then the Samsung Galaxy A06 should be the best option for you. And that is because Samsung promises 2 years OS update and of course an extra 3rd year security update, and that is something you definitely cannot overlook. For the others, we're not too sure. That is if it is even going to come at all. Additionally, One UI by Samsung for me is like the most robust skins in Android, and this phone gets the latest, the One UI 6.1. iOS by Tecno, SOS for Infinix, they are great, but really they are not as clean as Samsung One UI. They still come with bloatwares and of course save you 1 or 2 ads, which is not good. And then HyperOS by Xiaomi, still very unstable. So when it comes to software and software update, yeah, the Samsung Galaxy A06 is a clear winner. For the first time, it's getting the very first full 3 points, which is quite good. Three chipsets here, the Helio G81, the Helio G85, and the Unisoc T615 is what you are going to find inside these phones. Or more specifically, the Helio G81 is what powers the Tecno Spark 30C, the Infinix Hot 50i, and the Redmi 14C. Forget the G81 Ultra and the Redmi 14C, it's actually just the same thing, just different name. While the Helio G85 is what powers the Samsung Galaxy A06. Itel chose to go with the Unisoc T615 for the Itel P65. Now, when you look at the Geekbench scores of all of these phones, you can see that it is almost the same. And even the nano review comparison of this chipset shows that there isn't really much differences between them. So that means in terms of what these phones can do on a daily basis, yeah, it's actually equal. They cannot handle your regular task and light gaming. So in terms of performance, I will be giving all of them 3 points. However, I must state that since I reviewed the Tecno Spark 30C and the Infinix Hot 50i, I've been getting lots of comments of people who tell me it can't even open games like Call of Duty Mobile anymore after a while, even when they increase the RAM from 4 to 8 gig using memory expansion or whatever it's called. But the truth is, like I will always say, these phones are not gaming phones. So you really don't want to expect too much when it comes to gaming. If you want to buy a gaming phone, I would say you go with the Itel P65 if you are a staunch gamer on a budget. Go with the Itel P65, enjoy everything that it comes when it comes to gaming. And then, yeah, for now, I have not really seen anybody complain about the Unisoc processor, apart from the fact that it overheats if you have extensive gaming sessions. Yeah, so just keep that at the back of your mind if you're a staunch gamer. Otherwise, when it comes to performance, yeah, it's practically the same. So like I said, everybody gets 3 points. Scoreboard. At this point, I am sure you have decided the phone that you want, the one that best suits you. Because if you are waiting for cameras, well, the truth is that they are all the same. Now, if you have seen my reviews of each of these phones, I always say something. Under proper lighting conditions, you're going to get very good pictures from this phone. They're able to capture lots of details and quality if you give them good lighting. And that is because they all come with the same 50 megapixel rear camera. Now, they also struggle when it comes to low lighting conditions, and of course, when it comes to dealing with flares and lights all over the place, as in this picture you're looking at, yeah, they also tend to struggle. But then, that is exactly what you would expect from a phone at this price point. Now, while I may be okay with their picture quality, I have to personally point something out, that if you chose to go with the Samsung Galaxy A06, you definitely will be having a frustrating experience using the camera of this phone. I remember I experienced the same thing with the Galaxy A05. Now, I didn't point it out in my review of the A06 because I wasn't the one who went out with the phone to test the camera. But when I personally went out to snap pictures with this phone, trust me, it was a hell of a time with this phone. Like, it's just crazy. I feel it's a software thing because One UI is a very good skin, Android skin, but it is not properly optimized when it comes to budget phones like this one. Now, videos also came out well, as you can see right now, but I got better quality with the Tecno Spark 30C and the Infinix Hot 50i because they can shoot at 2K quality, while the rest at best will give you 1080p at 30 frames per second. Now, if you plan to use these phones, any of these phones for content creation, then that is obviously a very important detail you would need. Now, at the front, the Itel P65, the Infinix Hot 50i, the Tecno Spark 30C, and the Samsung Galaxy A06 all have an 8 megapixel selfie camera, while only the Redmi 14C has a 13 megapixel selfie camera. But does it mean it takes better selfies than the rest? Well, here are some selfie samples we took with all of them. What do you think? I think the answer is no. They are all good for the price point of this phone, and really, they're acceptable. But personally, I was stuck between the Tecno Spark 30C and the Infinix Hot 50i when it comes to the one that gives me the best and most consistent camera. Apart from these two phones giving me 2K quality when it comes to video, I will give the win to the Infinix Hot 50i. Honestly, the Sony IMX camera on this phone gave me way more consistent results when I checked out the pictures taken by the phones. So, from the score sheet, the Infinix Hot 50i is obviously the best budget phone right now by my standards. It has a lot going for it. For example, the very nice design, the also very consistent camera, and even the display. You will get very good value for your money. The Tecno Spark 30C follows very closely. It's also a very good phone in many aspects. Just that the design is not really my favorite. But then design is not a reason why you would choose to buy a phone or not buy a phone. So just forget the scoreboard and go for the Tecno Spark 30C because it's still a very good phone. Thirdly, tied on 15 points is the Itel P65 and the Redmi 14C. Now, listen to this. If you can get this extra charging case, then the Itel P65 will be like the best phone among all of these phones. Trust me. That is if you don't have a problem with the Unisoc processor that it comes with. Yeah, so really, this phone is for me the best. But like I said, if you cannot get this when you're buying it, then there are others that are slightly better. Lastly, I got about of them all. For only software, the Samsung phone. For me, you only get this phone if you are a staunch Samsung fan. Because you have seen my review, I try to be as factual as possible. I've told you the truth. And also, if you have extra money to spend on accessories like charger and all of that, then yeah, you can go and get this phone. Or better still, spend that money to buy the A16 or the A15 or something way better than this phone. That is it for me. I hope I made it as interesting as possible and fair enough when I was like comparing all of these phones. I didn't ask you to subscribe all this while, but at this point, like your mind will judge you if you don't. You really should subscribe to the channel for more tech reviews like this one. I will be seeing you in my next video because I'm going to be reviewing this killer from Samsung, from Tecno, the Tecno Spark 30 Pro. So I'll catch you in this video. Thank you.